Hello and welcome to this video brought to you by Louis Art. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. In this video, we'll be looking at creating a chain link with also the pendant inside geometry node. This is a case of potatoes. You can probably model this manually, but it's a fun experience to also explore other areas of Blender. So if you're interested in that, come with me and let's get started. So we have this simple model here of this character, and we've already set up the base for the flow of the chain. So what's left is to create dependence, so everything's kind of procedurally placed that you can always edit it and change things if you ever need to. So selecting the curve object, we will click on new geometry. And what we want to do first, if I disable this, we can see we have many points. In some cases we would want them, but we want to make sure they are distributed evenly. And to ensure that, we will add the resample curve node. So let's look for that. Resample curve. This basically gets the curves and resample them. And you can see with a lower value of 10, it looks a bit blocky and it needs more point. But the more we increase it, it gets smoother. Okay, I'm going to leave it at 30 for now. And let's keep moving. Next, we want to instance bunch of spherical object that will serve as our chain link, kind of like the military chain, which you see some military guys wearing. So to do that, we'll add the instance on point. So this guy, oh sorry, wrong node. Instance on point. So basically, we want to instance on each individual point of the line. So now we have this. It might look like nothing is showing, but it's working. If it's not working, we'll get an error, so we're good. Next, let's add a simple geometry or mesh primitive, and we'll be adding an icosphere. You can preview it by holding Ctrl Shift to bring out this preview, and you can see the particular node. By default, the subdivisions is set to 1, so we can increase it to 2 to make it more smooth. And you can always play with the radius, but if for this case, we'll just leave it like this for now. Next, we'll connect this as the instance object, and we can try to scale this down. Get closer. So let's do 0.007. We could even take it some more. Okay, so if you want more points if you want this to fill up more, you can basically increase the resample count, and you can have more points basically. And now we have created a just simple distribution, and you can move this around, and we'll always have it filling up. So this is one nice workflow. Next, we want to create a simple pendant. For that, let's do some, let's get, like I said, military stuff. Let's get a mesh, primitive, cube, and we can preview it. So we can scale this on the Y axis slightly. Okay, and then scale the Z. Let's give this 0.1 and also 0.1, so it has the same. Okay, and next we want it to be attached to the point of the we want it to be attached to the point of the curve. So to do that, we'll also instance it. Oh, but before we instance it, let's get a nice preview of the rope. Let's see the rope, and to see the rope, we'll use a join geometry. So we're going to combine it with the first inputted curve, so you can see it now. So here we will do something. So let's add mesh, curve to mesh. So we want to kind of fill it up. Even though this is a curve and we want to kind of use the depth to add it, it's not going to work that way. So we have to do it inside geometry node. So for that, we will use we'll add a curve primitive, and then circle object. We want to use this to give it some profile. So once we add that, we can see some depth. So we need to scale this down. And here we go, we have our roof going. Okay, so by the way, if you're getting this clipping artifacts, a quick way to fix it is just go to your view and reduce this value so it will allow you to go in without the clipping. Same thing if you zoom out so much and you can see it, you just increase this. Okay, so we have this going and looking nice. So let's add the pendant. Just organize stuff a bit. So for the pendant, we'll add it another instance node, and we'll be instancing this guy. Sorry, we'll add a join node here, so we want to combine them so we don't lose this. And we want to create another resample for this next instance just to have more control of. I mean, we could use the same so that they kind of are in unison. By the way, if you're lost, you can always leave questions in the comment. Okay, so we have it going, but we don't want it to distribute everything. We want to kind of isolate a particular point where we want to emit the cube from. So to do that, we'll use the selection to kind of isolate that. I'm going to add an index node. Okay. Next, I'm going to add utilities. And I forgot the node. So we want to grab a math node, place it here, and switch it to compare. Okay. We'll leave it as it is, but we're inputting the index to the very first value. And finally, we will add a compare node and switch this to less than. Oh, sorry. I will add a compare node. So this is a mat and this is a compare. So we'll set this is not equal. So like this. And now if we move this slider, you would notice it's kind of cycling through the curve. So at the point where you want it to be placed, so that's the very last one. Yeah, you have it. And then I want to split this value so we can control it some more. Scale this down. So now it's just for us to align it. And we can add the transform geometry and place it here. Move it on the z-axis down. Rotate it on the x-axis. So it's just aligning it. I'm sure there's a better way, but I just thought it was a cool trick and I was gonna put it out there. And yeah, so you kind of have everything going. I don't know if Geometry Node has bevel. Let's see. We have subdivide. Okay, so I just added the subdivide surface and then using this to add more creases, get it looking smooth. I think we can actually shade it smooth here. Okay. So just final tip, especially if you're not really familiar with geometry nodes, if you want to assign different materials to different places, let's say we want to give the pendant or the link like a black color, so we can do that. I'm going to create 3 materials. One is going to be called tag, link, or spheres. And then the rope, just give it random colors so we can quickly set them up. Okay, so for the rope, we can add set material and select the rope. If we go closer, you can see the material there. For the spheres, we can use spheres, a different color. And then for the tag, we basically give it its own material. So that's how you can go about it. The roughness, and then for the tag, we make it metal. There you go. For the rope, I'll just give it something black so it doesn't stand out. And that's how you can use Geometry Node to kind of set things up. I think probably if we, let's see if we can draw. And so you can draw out your own stuff. But it doesn't apply the tag. Yeah. Yeah, so that's cool. That will be it for this tutorial. This was just a fun experiment and also documenting the whole process that I used to set this up for future reuse. I hope this video was helpful to 1 or 2 persons or all of you. If you enjoyed this channel, you can subscribe to see more from me. So bye bye for now. See you next time.